I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Genoa Township Board of Trustees. Today's date is October 14th, 2025. It is 6:30 p.m. A full and accurate account of this meeting's video and audio can be found at www.genoatwp.com. Roll, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. McMurray.
Here.
Ms. Vaughn.
Here.
Mr. Antoinette.
Yes. Also present with us this evening is Fiscal Officer Patrick Myers, Assistant Fiscal Officer, HR Head Donna Batten, Director of Roads Lauren Fitzpatrick, Police Chief James McMillan, Fire Chief Joe Ponzi, Director of Zoning and Development Joe Schaefer, Director of Communications and Events Leslie Strader will be here, and Township Administrator Paul Wise. This time I ask if you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so Chief, you have the floor.
Good evening, Board. Thank you. I would respectfully request consideration of the promotion of Mike Rickabaugh to the promotion of Lieutenant Paramedic with the Fire Department. Mike began his career with the Genoa Township Fire Department in October 2011. Before that, he previously worked for Delaware County EMS from 2006 to 2011, Washington Township Fire Department over in Dublin from 2009 to 2012, and the Berlin Township Fire Department here in Delaware County from 2008 to 2015, excuse me. Berlin Township also being the township he grew up in. Mike has a multitude of training certificates to his resume, but also to add the following degrees. He has an associate's degree from Columbus State Community College in Fire and EMS Sciences, a bachelor's degree from Columbia Southern University in Fire Service Administration, and is currently pursuing his master's degree in public administration from Columbia Southern University. I would respectfully request the board to pass a resolution for the promotion of Mike Rickabaugh to the position of Lieutenant Paramedic effective October 14th, 2025.
Okay, thanks, Chief. I move to approve the promotion of firefighter paramedic Michael Rickabaugh to the position of Fire Lieutenant with the Genoa Township Fire Department effective October 14th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? None?
Ms.
Roll.
McMurray.
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn.
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette.
Yes, motion passed.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And we'd like to do Mike's oath of office, and then, no, you, yes, please. And then a little bit of pinning on of his badge and presenting him with his new helmet by his family members.
Need a footstool for Pat.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's tall.
I state your name.
I, Mike Rickabaugh,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of Lieutenant
of Lieutenant
in Genoa Township,
in Genoa Township,
Delaware County,
Delaware County,
state of Ohio,
state of Ohio,
during the continuance of my employment.
during the continuance of my employment.
So help me God.
So help me God. We'd like to have Mike's wife, Beth, come up and pin Mike's new badge on him. stay up there with him. We'd like to ask Mike and Beth's son Blake to come up and present him with his new helmet. That's awesome.
You'd like to join, or?
Oh, still,
Like, we're
no,
good.
I'm not worthy.
We're good.
I'm not worthy of that.
And if I
Sure,
30 more
absolutely.
seconds, so Mike introduce family and friends that may be here with him this evening. Yeah, again, my wife Beth that did a good job pinning the badge, didn't pinch me. Son Blake, sister Andrea, my wife, or my mom Debbie, my dad Eric, and a lot of mentors and friends that have helped me along the way. I appreciate it. So, thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. You can stick around, but I'm sure they don't want to.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're a little loud. Just kind of what we're known for.
Yeah.
Get out and be quiet.
Awesome. All right, next on the agenda is public comment. Anybody wish to stand up, make comment, please provide your name and address.
My name is John McHale. The address is 5311 Slater Ridge in Westerville. I wrote this out because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. But I wanted to start by saying thank you to all of you for your understanding about the full impact of the e-bike decision. I was at the cardiologist last week, and he said that my numbers are excellent and my exercise plan is working. And so I thank you all very much for your understanding and for listening. But that's not why I'm speaking here tonight. That said, I'm speaking this evening about a different topic. I've lived in Genoa Township since 2001. My wife has lived in Delaware County for nearly her entire life, and many of those years have been in Genoa Township. Molly is probably the #1 volunteer in the township, and I may very well be #2 or #3. As such, we interact with a lot of residents in many different capacities. We were putting flags on graves at Copeland Cemetery for Memorial Day, and we visited the graves of her great-great-great-grandparents. Now, I'm certain that not many in this room have roots in the township that deep, and also for many years we've served on COPS, which stands for Keep Our Public Safety Services. This is a political action committee that their main purpose is to assist with the passage of our police and fire levies. I personally have never had any interest in political life or, financial. I'm not financially motivated by these comments or anything like that. What we do in our volunteer efforts is serving on committees that we believe in and that serve the best interest in all the residents of Genoa Township. The first time I addressed the trustees, I believe it was back in March of 2014, regarding the first Tussock Road high-density development. I was against it. My concern at the time was that 100% of the zoning board had voted against it, but the trustees voted in favor of it. My concern was that the hard work of the zoning board was dismissed and that a precedent has now been set. Speaking with the trustees afterwards, I began to understand their concern for using the limited land available to maximize tax revenue for our schools and township. You may not agree with it, but it was then, and it is today, a valid point. I felt better learning that they were not as much about voting against the recommendation of the zoning board as they were voting to maximize the tax revenues for the township. I took time to ask why, and what I learned made sense to me, a lot of sense. In subsequent addresses to the trustees, I've been concerned that we were fighting high-density developments very similar to the first Tussock Road development that was approved back in 2014. By doing so, I felt that we were now setting ourselves up for lawsuits, and we were actively fighting to lower our tax base. Every trustee is now endorsed by the Genoa Township Residents for Responsible Development. Trustee Vaughn indicated that Trustee McMurray was selected because she shared her same views with development in the township. I trust that this does not mean that you're not open to hearing concerns and opinions from residents who do not completely agree with the charter of the GTRRD group. Listening to diverse opinions is good. I remember reading that when two great minds think alike, one of them isn't necessary. So I challenge each of you to challenge each other. Play chess, not checkers, with these decisions. Think about downstream effects of the decisions made today for our kids and our grandkids. I get that a 240-unit apartment complex is high density and would have a major impact on our schools and infrastructure. But million-dollar patio homes, are they really irresponsible? I know we didn't want a CVS, but what businesses would be acceptable for Genoa Township? What are we doing to attract acceptable businesses? Every time we say no to development, we are accepting that current residents will have to pay more to maintain the schools and services that we enjoy today. When you retire, your plans may be to move to the beach, but many of us choose to stay here, choose to stay close to family and our deep roots in Genoa Township. But unfortunately, many older residents are feeling pushed out. For residents who may be listening, many years ago, the land where Myers sits today was once owned by a Genoa Township resident. When Genoa residents were opposed to such development, the owner had the land annexed by Westerville. The project went through as planned with one exception. Westerville receives the tax revenue, Genoa does not. This is an example of Genoa winning the battle and losing the war. In more recent history, Genoa Township's residents fought the ravines at Hoover development through referendum only to slow the project and for the township to be sued. But today that development is also underway with a couple fewer homes on the site plan, and as a result of that, a few $1 million less to derive tax revenue from. Maybe another example of Genoa Township winning the battle and losing the war. Genoa residents also successfully stopped the CVS, all in the name of preserving our rural feel. But at each time, the cost of tax dollars for our township and for our schools. As I've been talking to residents about the recent fire levies, there is a growing number of residents who are very concerned about their property taxes. Ironically, several suggested that we should recruit more businesses into the township to share the tax burden. Maybe they're new to the area and don't understand the impact of the GTRRD group. As our elected and appointed officials, I hope that you will represent all of us and respect our diverse views. We are all in favor of responsible development. We just may differ on what is responsible. Perhaps as projects are presented to residents, you should stress the potential tax impacts. To me, I think a beautiful Romanelli and Hughes patio home community with $1 million plus homes with no impact to schools and little impact to our infrastructure that generate exceptional tax dollars for our community is very responsible. I recently found myself in a conversation with the Genoa Township resident at Rusty Bucket, I apologize, that's where we hang out, that led to a discussion about our fire levy. He was supportive of the fire levy, but remains very concerned about our real estate taxes. I explained the upcoming fire levy, and he was not, the upcoming police levy, and he was not opposed to it, but he said we vote people into office for them to solve problems, and they need to figure out the real estate tax issue. He surprised me when he said that word on the street is that trustees were paid off to approve the Epcon and RH developments. I assured him that that was absolutely not the case. But I must remind you that I heard the very same rumor back in 2014 when I first addressed the trustees. It was untrue back then, too. With all the GTRRD activity on Facebook, I want to make sure that you know that there are a lot of residents who believe that taxes are a growing concern. It was funny, the one I just recently read on Facebook that said that Trustee McMurray should be credited for not raising taxes in her time as a trustee. What, like 3 months or something? And I just said, well, I guess that's why I hate politics. As trustees, the greatest impact that you can have on our real estate taxes is development. You can't control the cost of a fire truck or police cruisers or the cost of asphalt. Honestly, all this talk of taxes during a trustee election has me worried about the unintended consequences that voters may feel if they vote, because voters may feel that if they vote no for the police levy, that somehow the trustees will find another way to fund our PD. This levy is the only way to fund our PD. So in summary, we all understand the importance of sticking to our comprehensive plan, but we also want you to maximize our tax revenues for any remaining development. No one wants irresponsible development, but again, we may differ on what is responsible. As our trustees, it is imperative that you represent all of us and not just the opinions of the GTRRD group. So please follow the comprehensive plan, keep Genoa Township out of litigation, and maximize tax revenues for any remaining development. This is the best way for you to help us keep our taxes from escalating. In 2026, voters will likely decide the fate of real estate taxes in Ohio. I wouldn't be surprised to see a new group called Genoa Township Residents for No Real Estate Taxes appear. Who wouldn't vote for that, right? But if that passes, our 2026 Ohio income tax rate that is currently scheduled to be 2.75 would jump to an estimated 11.24% in Delaware County, and Franklin County would be 13.28%. So I say that in hopes that you are all willing to play chess and not checkers going forward. Thank you for listening and for your ongoing efforts to keep Genoa a great place to live. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right.
Do you want Nicole to speak now or after the fiscal? It's after me on here, but if you want her to go ahead so she can go home, that's fine.
Yeah, you should come up.
Yeah, come on up.
Yeah. You don't want to sit through this excitement.
I have it.
They're not all this semester. Oops. Oh. Thank you.
This works. I have 5 slides, so thank you for allowing me to come and speak at the meeting tonight. It's a super short presentation. I am not going to give you a lesson in school finance. You're welcome. But if anyone's ever interested, the offer is always open. I'm always happy to sit down and chat with whoever. But I do have a real quick presentation, but there's lots of information on our website as well. And so I just want to make sure everybody has this handout here. Oh, I'm sorry. My name's Nicole Marshall. I am the Treasurer and Chief Financial Officer for the Westerville City School District. I've been with the district since 2018, and I come and share information with the township pretty regularly, especially when we're on the ballot and talking about school funding. So this is a much abridged conversation from what I'm sure you guys are used to hearing from me. So we are on the ballot this November the 4th. We have an earned income tax levy, and I'll talk a little bit about what that means. When we talk about the why, schools in Ohio don't have a whole lot of options when it comes to funding. We see funding from the state. We see funding from the federal government that's meant to provide for above and beyond what the state and local provides for. And then we have funding from our local community. School funding is a shared responsibility between our state and our local community in the state of Ohio. And our options are to ask the state for more money or ask our community for more money. Our options for our community is either through a property tax or a school income tax. A school income tax is a residential tax. That means that it only applies to people who live within the school district's boundaries. Unlike a municipality that can pass an income tax on people who work within the municipality's boundaries, we don't have that option as school districts. So this handout that I have gives a footprint of the entire school district. We're about 52 square miles all around. Anyone that lives within this school boundaries and has earned income tax, this would apply to them. So when we talk about our ability to raise revenue, lack of being able to raise revenue, we'll have to make significant reductions. The Board of Education at its regular meeting on September 22nd approved a proposed reduction list should the ballot issue not pass in November. And it's about a $20 million shortfall in revenue that we're facing right now. And so without that, we would have to make $20 million in reductions going into the next school year. And so there is lots of information on the district's website about that if you're interested in looking at that. So now for the issue, it's a 0.75% earned income. It would generate approximately $24.3 million annually for our general operating account. And this is sort of a point of confusion with people, so I do like to mention that 0.75% is less than 1%. It only applies to earned income. That means wages, salaries, and net self-employment income. So if you receive a paycheck from your employer, or if you're self-employed and have to file your taxes for your own business and what that looks like. Because it's an earned income, it does not apply to retirement, to pensions, or Social Security, or unemployment, or any interest or dividends or capital gains tax or anything like that. It has nothing to do with property taxes. There's a lot of conversations around property taxes in our state right now, and we were on the ballot last year for a property tax issue that failed. And so coming back, like I said, our options are property taxes or income taxes. We weren't successful with the property tax levy, so we're coming back with the earned income tax. We did ask the state for additional funds, and we also weren't successful in that conversation overall with the outcome of the state's most recent budget. I will say the state's most recent budget also includes reducing the state income tax by 0.75% by the second year of the budget for any earnings over $100,000. And so some of that will be offset for a lot of folks for those earnings over $100,000 once that comes off. Maybe. Income taxes for school districts is not a new concept, even in this area. Big Walnut to our north, it's also in Genoa Township, has a school district income tax as well. But all of these schools that are shaded in blue there, they have an income tax. You can see that table there shows what county they're in, the name of the school district, the first year of the income tax that's in place, and what the tax rate is for those areas. School funding is a super complicated subject, and there is a lot of misinformation just everywhere. I would encourage anyone that has questions to reach out to the district, reach out to me or anyone in the district. We can find information that you're looking for. There's a lot of data available on our website, and if you scan this QR code, it will take you to a very robust webpage that has lots of frequently asked questions and all of those things. And I'm always happy to have conversations if anyone's interested. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. See, that's my super short presentation. I'm not used to having such short presentations. So but are there any questions from the board?
I do. First of all, both my daughters went from first grade, graduated through Westerville schools. Very successful engineers out in the community doing good things, so I'm a huge supporter of Westerville schools. I struggle with trying to find out if this is above and beyond a levy that's already in place.
So this is an additional levy. Yeah, it would be an additional levy in place, yeah.
Okay.
The same, so our last ballot issue would have been additional as well, the operating piece of it. So we were on last fall for operating and a bond issue. So it would have provided some work for some of our older facilities. And so since that wasn't successful, we had to make cuts. So we've already made over $9 million in cuts to our general operating budget as is. And we heard from a lot of people that they were surprised that when we failed last fall that we would have to make cuts. And so we're trying to make sure that it's very well known what will need to be cut if this doesn't pass in the fall. So, but yeah, that was also additional. This would also be additional.
And if I could, I think also on the last levy request, there were some significant school improvements.
Mhm.
Are those still on the table?
No, those are not on the table currently. So those have been put on hold since we weren't able to secure the bond funds for that.
Okay.
So just so everybody's aware, the state of Ohio, we went through the state budget process with them, and we're losing additional funds in the school funding formula from the state of Ohio. But our school funding formula is designed that as our community looks wealthier, both in property value and income, the state reduces its share of funding to our school district. And so since 2021, our state share has dropped by 25%. It was 43% in 2021. Today it's 18%. Next year, the budget's already set for next year. It's projected to be about 11%. We continue to see a decrease in our state funding. And so this kind of helps us close some of that gap. So without it, we'll have to make some pretty significant cuts.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Let's go.
Okay. Mr. Myers, you're up. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, come on up. I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Trying to figure out who all was going to go and in what order. Hello, everybody. My name is Molly Snodgrass. I live in Harlem Township. I am running for Big Walnut Board of Education this year. So I've been making a point to get out to every township and the city and village that make up our district, just to introduce myself and talk a little bit about why I'm running. So I have my husband, I already said I live in Harlem Township. We have a second grader who attends Highland Souders Elementary and a preschooler who will start there next year. My youngest son won't graduate until 2039, so we have almost 15 years that we'll have kids in the district, so I have a really truly vested interest in making Big Walnut the best that it can be. Should I be elected, some of the areas that I would want to focus on are increasing some activity in advocacy and outreach, increasing communication and collaboration, and having more of a vision for the future. I'll touch on each of those briefly. So in the advocacy and outreach space, there is a lot of proposed legislation going on at the state level that could have potentially big impacts to school districts, including Big Walnut. Our current Board of Education has taken a stance that they just simply do not get involved in any of that. And I think my personal opinion is that's not the view I would want a Board of Education to take. I would want them to feel that they're the representatives of the community and that they're paying attention to everything that's going on at the state level so that the community doesn't necessarily have to, and that if there's important stuff that would have major impacts to the district, it would then be on the board to share that information with the community and provide them with, hey, this is the legislation that's being considered, this is what its impact would be on Big Walnut, and empower them to decide how they feel about it and whether or not they would want to get involved. That's something that our current board does not do, and that is something that I would want to change. So then in communication and collaboration, I would want to increase communication to our residents. Currently, our current board, we used to send a printed newsletter called the Eagle Examiner every month to every household in the district, and it kept everybody so informed. Everyone loved it. And then our current board eliminated it entirely for a whole year. And then when they brought it back in digital-only format. Now, I've heard from so many residents while I've been campaigning here that just feel like they have no idea what's going on in the district. Because especially if you don't have a kid enrolled in the district and you're not getting the email reminder, they don't think to go to the website, find the Eagle Examiner page, and pull up that digital newsletter every month. It just doesn't happen. And even if you do have kids and you get an email, it gets buried and people just don't pull it up and open it like they would something that they get in the mail. I know that Genoa Township itself sends out a printed newsletter to all of their households. So I know you see the value in making sure that you're getting printed mail out to people to keep them informed. I also would want to increase collaboration and kind of community engagement. Our current board has eliminated all committees that in the past, residents in the district used to be able to volunteer their time and talents to serve on different committees and kind of be a part of Big Walnut and serve Big Walnut and help make it the best that it can be. If our current board has eliminated all committees, they've closed the door to community involvement. And I would want to reopen that door and give people the opportunity to be more involved and engaged to help make Big Walnut the best that it can be. And then the last thing is having a strong vision for the future and a plan with actionable goals. So our current district, the last time we did a strategic plan was in 2015, and it was called Vision 2020. Well, Vision 2020 is 5 years ago. Since then, we have a new superintendent, a new treasurer, a new director of academic achievement, and probably more. And yet our current board did not prioritize doing an update to their strategic plan. An update to the strategic plan would inform our priorities, help set our goals, establish clear and actionable steps to achieve those goals, be able to measure progress against them, and most importantly, share all of that with the community so that the school district can be held accountable to meeting those goals. So the last thing I want to mention is that a lot of people have a strong focus, and for good reason, on fiscal responsibility and wanting to make sure that tax dollars are spent wisely. I would just want to reassure anyone listening that we have a dedicated superintendent and an excellent treasurer. Our treasurer has actually been nationally recognized in his field of school finance, one of only 3 people in the entire country to receive the award that he did. And those key personnel and all of the rest of the administration will still remain in place. So it's not like fiscal responsibility will vanish if there are new faces on the board. So just to reassure everybody, with a strong treasurer and superintendent, that's just not going to be something where new people on the board would all of a sudden make our district less fiscally responsible. So I guess that's about it. And I thank you for your time. And to anyone listening, I hope that I have earned your vote. If not, if you need more information, I have a website, mollysnodgrass.com, and I'm active on social media.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Molly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone? You're up.
No. All right. A few things. First of all, there's a set of meeting minutes from November, zoning meeting minutes from November 18th of 2021. That particular night, there were 2 special meetings, and these minutes didn't get approved. So my understanding is, based on the county prosecutor's office, as long as Trustee McMurray had listened to them and gone through them, that it would be okay to have her vote on these. So I would ask to approve those meeting minutes so we can get them on the website.
Okay, I move to approve.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I wasn't in office either.
She wasn't either. I would like to refresh my memory with this. I got
Okay.
about halfway through the meeting last night
Oh,
and
okay.
ran out of time, so I'd like to wait until the November meeting, if that's okay, so I can finish. I don't want to approve
Sure.
meeting, I mean, this was,
I wasn't in trustee either, so
Oh, so
I
you
didn't
need to-
realize I need to listen to it. So I do, right?
You, go ahead.
No, unfortunately, because of the, I guess, the zoning, gosh, I don't know what you would call those things.
Conflict
The
of
condos,
interest.
Yeah,
Yes,
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 recuse.
yes.
I'm sorry, yes,
I
you
would
have to
still
recuse.
have to recuse myself.
Yes, you'll have to recuse yourself, yes. So Annette or Renee
Yeah.
would have to put the motion out there and second it. You cannot participate in any of the discussions, motion, or vote.
I mean, I reviewed the minutes, but I would like to finish watching it before I approve these.
No
Okay.
worries.
All right, thank you.
Move it to the next meeting?
Yep, you get one
Yep.
table.
Okay.
I allow one tabling.
All right, so the next, I'll move to approve the following trustee meeting minutes, September 9th, 2025, regular meeting, September 29th, 2025, special trustee meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? None?
Ms.
Roll.
Ms. McMurray? Yes. Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette?
Yes, motion passed.
Thank you. Financials for September 2025, I have them for your review at the end, but I will give you the balances. Total balance is $31,812,598.20. The primary account has $4,299,908.58. The Fifth Third Investments that we worked with them on is $19,687,379.05. And the Star Ohio investment account has $7,825,303.57. Everything is balanced, and I will have for your signature at the end. You should receive those.
Thank you.
Next, I would ask for us to do supplemental appropriation, amendment of and do supplemental appropriations for the account, the funds listed and the accounts listed to fund the healthcare accounts till the end of this year. So you can do those as presented if you'd like, or you can read them.
Yeah, I move to approve the retroactive supplemental appropriation amendments as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll.
Ms. McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette?
Yes, motion passed.
Thank you. And then, based on that, we need to do a permanent appropriation amendment we sent to Sherry in Delaware, at Delaware County.
I move to approve the following permanent appropriation amendments. Self-insurance medical fund, health insurance increase from 2.82 million to 3.12 million. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Ms.
None.
McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette?
Yes.
Thank you. Now that we've approved all that, I'd like to ask you to approve the blanket purchase orders for those accounts.
I move to approve the following blanket purchase orders for medical hospitalization. I'm just going to quickly go through these. B&G for $8,000, zoning for $30,000, maintenance for $30,000, police for $84,000, fire for $25,000, self-insurance for $300,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Roll.
Ms. McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette?
Yes.
And that's all I have unless you have something for me.
No, thank you. Any trustee comments?
Yep. I've got a few things. First, I'm trying to make some plans for January, and I'd like to schedule the January meeting, if we could, if that's okay. I know we've been meeting the second Tuesday of the month. I think the first is a Wednesday or a Thursday. I don't even know, but I think last year we didn't want to wait until the second Tuesday.
For the regular meeting or reorg? Or you can do it all
Reorg.
the same?
Yeah,
Reorg.
reorg. I was talking, yeah, the
The
first is on a Thursday, so I
Yeah,
just,
so Tuesday's the 6th.
Could we do Monday, the 5th?
yeah, I'm free.
Or,
I don't care, I just would like to make some plans, can't make them until we get this on the calendar.
Monday and Tuesday are both fine for me.
Assuming I'll be here.
Well,
Works for me.
do Monday or Tuesday?
I don't care. Either way works.
What works for you?
Monday's better.
Monday?
We get, yeah, it's, we'll miss one day of the new year, so that shouldn't be too
Okay.
detrimental.
The Monday the 5th?
Okay, thank you. Second, there's been a lot of talk, it's campaign season, all right? People have already talked about this. I wanted to clarify a few things with emails. I've had some people reach out and ask, how are these people getting my email? So I talked to staff today, and anybody's welcome to chime in, that last year, there was a Supreme Court ruling that it was Hicks versus Union Township, Claremont County Board of Trustees. The trustees kept telling the person, these are not public records. So Hicks took the township to court, Supreme Court ruled on it, that says emails that the township keeps is a public record. So to say that you're going to protect people's privacy by protecting their email, that would be breaking the law. So if people ask the township for records that we keep legally, we have to comply. So I talked to Leslie today. Do you mind talking about some things that we did once this ruling was passed to help protect people and their privacy of their information?
Yes, we were concerned when this trickled down to us, and we knew that it would be of concern to our residents. So Donna and I discussed what we would do moving forward. One thing that we did was make sure that there is a disclaimer on our email sign-up form, and that says, contact information maintained by Genoa Township, including but not limited to electronic data, are public records under Ohio law and subject to public disclosure pursuant to a public records request. And that is before they ever enter their contact information in now. But for the folks that were already signed up prior to that change, we published an article in our February e-newsletter. And I just wanted to read that to you too. So that, because I have gotten 2 emails about this today, and I included this article to them so that they would understand the issue in more detail. It's pretty brief. The Ohio Supreme Court recently ruled that distribution lists are considered public records as a result of the case Hicks versus Union Township, Claremont County Board of Trustees. This was hyperlinked to the case. The ruling has put subscriber contact information in jeopardy of being used without consent. Email is a low-cost method of keeping residents informed about community projects, but for those whose priority it is to limit the spread of their email address, now is the time to consider unsubscribing from government distribution lists, including this one. Alternative means of staying informed include regularly visiting our website, www.genoatwp.com, to view social media posts, featured topics of interest, newsletters, and more. And then I just wanted to note, and the email says this as well, that anyone can unsubscribe at any time using the link at the bottom of all of our emails. So that was the course of action we took after this happened. We wanted to make sure for the folks whose email addresses we had that they were informed directly. That that email had a open rate in around 80%. Yes, I only had, I think it was 12 unsubscribes.
Say free pizza or something?
No, they just like it. They just like our emails that much. But yeah, so there were only 12 unsubscribes as a result of that email. I've gotten 2 additional today.
Okay, thank you. Donna, you have anything to add? You good?
No.
Okay, perfect. I had a couple other things. I did that. Oh, so I became aware of a video online. It is, and I've heard it's David Thomas from Ashtabula County. He used to be Ashtabula's county auditor, and now he's a state rep. Actually, in the spring, he spoke at the police station. Representative Lorenz had a property tax informative meeting, and David Thomas spoke at that meeting. He's kind of the guru for solving the property tax issue at the State House. So somebody sent me a little clip, and so I reviewed it, and he is right now talking to groups like he did in the spring, and he's encouraging local entities to think about next year, and I did speak with George Keitza, our county auditor, this week and last week. Next year, 2026, is the triannual reassessment. So we just had the big assessment 2 years ago. Next year is like the middle reassessment. The county will look at home sales. They don't do like a detailed reassessment. They just look at home sales in each area, and then they determine how much your property taxes will increase, decrease. It is projected that next year, property values will go up 20%. So David Thomas is encouraging local entities to refuse the increase. So I'm bringing it up that everybody you hear tonight is talking about property values. So It is too late to refuse money next year. That deadline was October 1st. And with the police levy on the ballot, we haven't even started looking at our budget because we don't know. We may need money in the general fund to support our police department if our levy doesn't pass. So, but we could look at not collecting whatever the increase is in '27, but we would need to decide that by October 1st of '26. So I'm just putting this out here. Genoa Township is unique because if you are a township that overlaps some of your territory with another municipality, if you refuse the tax dollars that are collected for you and say, we don't want it, the other municipality can take it. For instance, Berkshire overlaps with the village of Galena, and Berlin Township overlaps with the city of Delaware. So if either one of those townships were to say, we don't want to collect our full payment, the villages and city could take it. So
The full amount would still get collected.
whatever we decide not to collect. So we are unique that nobody can steal our money. And George confirmed that. But I just wanted to start talking about this. You know, our general fund for the first time in many years is in good shape. So we are in a spot for the first time in a very long time that we could consider doing something like this. You, go ahead, Pat.
I was just, no, I was gonna talk about what you just said with collecting and not collecting and all that stuff. That's one piece of it. The other piece is you gotta, something's gonna go on a ballot next year to say property taxes are illegal.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yes.
it's good to be thinking about what we wanna do if that doesn't happen. But this group is pretty, it's got legs, you know, so there's some balance there too.
Absolutely, you're right. It's the, we don't know, we can't predict the future. But I'm saying if things stay as is, I think it's a valid point that we're okay. You could also reduce the millage of any levy and just say we aren't gonna collect. Now, I mean, we just approved the fire levy this year and we're asking for the police. So I don't think we're in a spot that I think the levy amounts right now are good. The only thing I would personally consider, and somebody can prove me wrong, is let's look at the general fund. That's it. I'm just starting a conversation.
Well, it's looking at a bigger picture too, and it's not being short-sighted, it's forward thinking.
Trustees, I do have one question with regards to George's comment. Was he aware that you were talking of the general fund, or was he aware that, was he thinking one of our special revenue funds?
He was talking inside millage. We talked specifically inside millage.
Millage in the general.
Mhm. That was my question to him.
Our residents will receive some tax relief if we roll that back.
They won't get the increase. We could refuse the increase, whatever it is. But again, we got to look at our budget and see, and
Okay.
maybe we don't accept all of it, maybe we accept none of it. I don't know.
Well-
It's the what if, I don't know.
Just a comment about that, one piece of that you don't realize, and a lot of people forget, that our maintenance department is budgeted for that, I think it's a 0.6 mil of inside millage. So
Okay.
maybe not all of it, because when we figured the 5-year plan on maintenance, that included that inside millage
It
in
did.
those revenue projections,
The increase or what we currently get?
what the current
Yeah,
value is.
I'm saying we keep what we're currently getting. But if we get an increase, maybe we talk about not accepting it because people are taxed out. I get it.
Maybe the county should do a little work and not go off property sales and actually go out and look at properties. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, with inflated costs and stuff like that, my house is, I wouldn't give you half of what they say my house is worth. I live there. So that's frustrating, sorry.
Yeah. Yep.
Agreed.
Yep, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'd like to quickly address John and Molly. First of all, it doesn't go unnoticed, the commitment you have to our township. Hugely appreciated, and I appreciate your comments. I just want to emphasize the word responsible in GTRRD. And let's remind you that the 4 years that I've been here, we passed both PRDs that were requested. Romanelli Hughes development up off of Plum. It was unfortunate the path we had to take with EPCON. I had 5 distinct safety issues with that development. And I asked them to address each one of those, and they had no answers. So at the end of the meeting, I asked them if they wanted to table it and consider addressing my 5 concerns, and they chose not to do that. For that reason, I voted no. It's unfortunate that it went to litigation, but what happened out of litigation is we got those issues all resolved. So it took a different path, but those issues got resolved, including emergency entrance. We got $100,000 from them for trails. So I would dispute your assertion that we just wholesale don't vote and approve development. I understand the importance of it, but the word responsible cannot be overlooked. I appreciate your comments.
All right, I just wanted to make a quick reminder to all residents. I live on Worthington Road. The speed limit is, I think, 50 miles per hour, and every morning I watch people blow by our bus as the flashing lights come on and the stop sign comes out. The other morning, I witnessed a car having to go off the road because they weren't paying attention. That could have easily caused harm to my daughter and I. So I'm just asking everyone, when you see flashing lights for bus stops, please stop. Don't, gas it and try to go through it. I've also reached out to Lauren to talk about seeing if we can get some more bus stop signs along these kind of more rural roads where we do have high speed. It's not just an issue here on Worthington Road. I think it's happening across the township, and even talked to the Big Walnut Local School District bus garage director, transportation director, and he said that Sunbury is also looking to do that, add more signage. I don't know if that'll necessarily stop people, but I think it can help. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. And then I just wanted to give a quick update on the zoning resolution. So I'm still progressively reviewing it and making notes about edits. I've talked to Joe. He's pretty much done reviewing it. He's made some notes. And so our next step is to meet collectively and just kind of go over everything and see where we are. I need to talk to you, Paul, about seeing if the township, either the hall or the small conference room, would be available on Monday, November 10th in the evening. I would like to hold a roundtable at that point. To date, we have not received any more comments from the public, so that's kind of where we are.
I know the zoning commission is in the hall that night.
Okay.
So if you were present, you can use our conference room.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Okay.
All right. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, HR.
Nope.
Did I jump you? Sorry.
Good evening, Board. You have in your information this evening, it's a master agreement to provide mutual aid and shared use between various Delaware County political subdivisions. This agreement was brought up a year or so ago with the Township Association in the county. The agreement purpose is basically, it's establishing the terms and conditions by which a requesting party may request from a responding party or parties, and to provide assistance, including but not limited to the provision and use of equipment and labor performing the requester party's duties and obligations. So I know Trustee Vaughn was the spearhead of this legislation. I'm going to let her talk about this agreement.
Thank you. The Delaware County EMA, there is a federal contract that if there is an emergency, it will cover police, fire, and maintenance for 48 hours. If anybody needs help after the 48 hours, you need something else. So for instance, we helped Galena with the last tornado. I don't think you helped them. It was one day, right? It was, yeah. So that would have covered it. But if you have something, this is more, not even during an emergency, Plum Road, I think I mentioned last month, if there was a gravel spill or a tree down and, maybe several trees down when a strong wind comes by, it's not declared an emergency, so then it wouldn't be under the county's umbrella. But, if our trucks are out there and our crew and they're clearing debris from the road and 100 yards down, there's one limb or tree in the road, we're probably going to go take care of it. But legally, we shouldn't. So this contract would help us in those times. I mean, people do it without even thinking because it's the right thing to do. But this contract protects us in cases when it's not an emergency or if it is an emergency after the first 48 hours. Go ahead.
The contract was vetted and approved by the county prosecutor's office.
Yeah, they created it. This doesn't, and it's up to us. If we have equipment that, let's say Berkshire wants to borrow, but they don't have anybody who's trained to use it, then we would send our person and our vehicle with them, and we would just do it because we don't want them to break our stuff or whatever. So or we can say, yes, you can come borrow this, whatever it is. So, and we can always say no. And the contract allows us so that if we do a service and we send someone and equipment, we charge a fee. So we could always get reimbursed for this. Those instances would be individualized based on each event. But this general agreement is just protecting us. It's the overall umbrella, and then you would deal with the specifics for each event. And I think Annette attended the Delaware County Township Association meeting on September 11th, where I think Trustee Joe Garrett from Concord Township spoke about it, and so did Chris Betts from the prosecutor's
Yeah, it was
office.
very informative. I mean, I think it makes sense. It gives us that layer of protection.
I recommend we move forward with this.
There was concern in past discussions about liability, carrying liability. Does this address that and you're comfortable with?
Are you talking about through our insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Paul got those answers, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're good.
I move to approve the master agreement to provide mutual aid and/or shared use between various Delaware County, Ohio political subdivisions as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. None, roll.
Ms. McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn? Mr. Antoinette?
Motion passed.
Thank you. I think there's lines for the board if there's a blank copy pass around.
And Paul, that's supposed to go to Orange Township Administrator, Michelle
Okay.
Bonney.
Great.
She's the gatekeeper of the agreements.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next up, we had a request for the education incentive in our personnel policy manual that was approved this year. It addresses if an employee has a bachelor's degree, request being made by Dina Brown to take advantage of that. She wasn't eligible until after her first year of employment with the township.
Okay, I move to approve an education incentive per the 2025 Genoa Township Personnel Policy Manual, education incentives for Office Manager Dina Brown for an additional $1 per hour for a bachelor's degree effective July 18th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll.
Ms. McMurray? Oh,
Good discussion,
sorry.
please, yeah. So, I reached out to both Paul and Donna to get a little bit of clarification. And I'm still not clear on the policy, because when I read it and when I think about it, I think that if I were to complete a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or my law degree, whatever it may be, then I would be eligible for that increase. I would assume that at the time of hiring, if a degree is required, that it would be something that would be addressed during that hiring period. So it really threw me, I've never seen anything like this before, so it really threw me off. And I'm still not 100% comfortable with it.
Our policy is unique because if there's an individual who's a salaried employee, such as myself, with a degree, that's included in my salary.
Okay,
This addresses hourly employees
okay,
who have the degree, who aren't currently, it's not part, it wasn't negotiated as part of her wage when she came here. In
Okay.
fact, it states in this that you have to wait until after your first year.
Our policy doesn't state that you have to earn it, it's just
It's if you have it.
have it.
And I think at the time when the board, this was probably 10, 15 years ago, back when, I think when Barb Lewis was a trustee, she was encouraging the township to put higher standards on hiring, to hire people with degrees. And so, because we have a very educated clientele at the township, and so she encouraged, and that's back when they buffered up, if you wanted to go to college, they pumped a lot more money into that incentive also. But this part would be just for those hired with degrees.
So after a year, if I have a degree, then I can apply or request.
If you're a
this
full-time
increase, if I'm a
employee,
full-time,
hourly,
non-exempt employee.
full-time hourly employee.
Okay.
If I can, this mimics both, actually, all three of our union contracts. So
Okay.
each section, I believe the way, because we'll be going through my first one this year.
Oh, you have negotiations this year?
Yeah, is negotiated. So when you look at the fire and the police,
Okay,
you have the wages that are negotiated, and then this is another item that is negotiated separately.
okay,
So in an effort, as Mr. Wise was saying, to be competitive, this was then offered to our employees that are not part of union contracts, and it follows the same process. So for the police officers and the firefighters, they have wages that are established in the union contracts. And then they have this on top of it, and it does have that probationary period behind it. And it was, I can't remember exactly when it was added or if it had always been in there, but as I had stated, it's to keep it consistent and have the non-union employees have some of the same benefits.
that's not uncommon.
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe when she was hired, I'm not quite sure, but she, her position, the hourly rate that was advertised, it did not require a degree.
A degree, okay.
All right, so we hired her and then we promoted her.
That is correct.
Changed your title.
Okay, any further?
$70,000 a year.
I know.
Reminded everybody of that one. That little juggling.
Eliminated a position,
And
combined duties, yes.
Donna took over like the HR and then Dina took part, okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
We
Remember that.
eliminated staff.
Okay.
We're doing the same or more with less.
Well, I appreciate the context. I've never seen anything like it, and that makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, I've worked where we had union and non-union employees, and a lot of things, kind of mirrored
And you'll
each
see the
other.
firefighters, that it just says they hit that, right? When they bounce off their probationary period, you'll get an
Then you can do that.
incentive. Yes.
If you have
Yeah.
X degree, okay.
So
That
just
makes
a good
sense.
faith effort to
Okay.
kind of keep everybody on the same.
No, that's very, very
Level.
helpful, very helpful. Thank you.
Ms. McMurray. Yes. Ms. Vaughn.
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette.
Yes, motion passed.
That's all I have this evening.
Thanks, Paul.
I'd like to remind everybody to vote,
Yeah.
since we won't have another meeting before then. Thank you.
HR.
Good evening, trustees. It was my intention to have our 2026 insurance renewals to be present, to present to you this evening. Unfortunately, we are still waiting on our stop-loss renewal. And that is a large component of the medical portion of our renewals. And I do not want, to present those without seeing those myself. I need a little bit of time to go through what that's going to look like. I can give you a quick update on where we are with regards to medical. I am looking at possibly changing our third-party administrator and our network PPO provider list. We spoke this afternoon when I got the news about the stop-loss not coming in. We are also going to reach out to our existing third-party administrator and see if they want to sharpen their pencil as well. Currently, we use a company that I believe is North Wisconsin, Prairie States. They manage the self-insurance fund for us, and we use Cigna's PPO provider network listing. We roughly are pulling in at about 35% discounts with the Cigna. There are a couple hiccups. We have some employees that have dependents that are out of state. There's a little bit of a different provider list there. So we evaluated a possible change. It was presented to me, a company, it was called HPI, and that would be the third-party administrator. And Todd Bollinger, which Renee and Mark has met, and Trustee McMurray, you have not met her yet. Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, I've looked at you and said, so he went out and he was able to get an exemption granted to us from United Healthcare to participate in their PPO network. So right now, some of his existing clients, they're looking at anywhere between 45 to 49% discounts. So that's a huge increase, or would be a huge decrease, right?
Decrease, yeah.
And our medical, we're running $1 million plus. Well, obviously, we're running, we just amended those appropriations to $3 million. So that would be a huge savings for us, and which is why he also wanted to give Prairie States, we have been with them since, I believe it was 2019, give them the opportunity to take a look and see if there is any opportunity for some saving measures there.
So this is the first time we put it out to bid since 2019?
It's the first time it's been with me. I don't recall, I don't know.
Not last year.
I know it definitely was not last year. I can't recall how many, or if Linda ever did any, went out to, I'm sure she did.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we are right now with regards to that. I would like to request a special meeting of the Board of Trustees. I would, hopefully you would have some time the week of, it would be the 27th, the 28th, or the 29th of October. That would be a Monday, Tuesday, or a Wednesday at 8 a.m. or whatever works best for you guys. Mr. Bollinger, he said his schedule's wide open, so he's very flexible.
Is he anticipating having the stop loss by then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's anticipating that that should come in by the end of the week. That'll give me time to sit down with Mr. Wise, our union reps, and kind of walk through everything with those actual final numbers. And then I can also, everything will then be given to you guys in advance so you can review it. And then when we sit down at that meeting, we're not going to be surprised. And I don't want that.
See the week of the 27th?
27th, 28th, or 29th?
I'm free.
I'm free.
Do you want to do early?
If
Or do
the
you wanna
trustee,
do
I would prefer early.
Yeah.
And then,
The only day I can't do early is Tuesday.
so either
Monday or Wednesday?
Monday or Wednesday?
let's do Monday. Yeah, so
Monday,
if we do
27th.
go ahead with a change, they're requesting about 60 days. So that will definitely get it in. We'll be coming right in under that time limit.
What time are we talking? 8?
AM?
Okay, so special meeting on 10/27 at 8 a.m. to review medical. And then moving on, we did receive our dental renewal. It actually came in lower than expected. We were expecting about an 8% increase. It came in at 2.9. So I will have that information ready for you to approve at that meeting as well. Vision came in at 0%. We have not had an increase in vision for a very, very long time.
Got good eyes. Awesome. Appreciate all your effort.
Oh, thank you. And that's all for HR. Thank you.
All have glasses on working.
Yeah, right. Fire chief.
Good evening, Board, again. Just two additional items for your consideration this evening. We are a couple years past what we would have normally planned for the replacement of the battalion chief vehicle. currently have a 2013 Chevy Tahoe that they've been using. We put those on the vehicle replacement schedule for a 10-year replacement. So we're a couple years past. We didn't think we were going to have any opportunity to get in on any cooperative purchasing or state bidding this year, and then suddenly one opportunity presented itself, which we thought we were going to go with, and then late Friday, Battalion Chief Weekly received an email from a salesperson at a Chevy dealership that was awarded the state bid about 2 weeks ago. So originally, we were going to ask for about $60,000 to replace that vehicle, but the new state bid has come in at $58,000. So I would ask that you would approve a purchase order to Lee Kinsel. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, sales and service. And if I may, there's just a $20 price difference.
Well, this says 56 and you said 58.
Did I say 58? I meant 50. So it's
So it's
56 is correct.
5647?
And it's 56047.
Okay.
We added in the temporary tag fee because we weren't sure if we needed a temporary tag when it eventually comes in, they drive it from the dealership to here. I said, well, it's $20 if we don't spend it, it's okay, but I'd rather have it than not have it. So I'll offer that up, and if you have any questions or further discussion, I'm happy to answer those questions.
I move to approve a purchase order to Lee Kinsel Sales and Service, the amount of $56,047 for a 2026 Chevrolet Tahoe Special Service. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Ms. McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn? Yes. Mr. Antoinette?
Yes, motion passed.
Thank you. And one other item is we would request to graciously accept a donation in the amount of $100 from Edward and Peggy Hankinen for the fire department. They were relentless with the crew on Friday as they were out changing smoke detectors in this resident's home and wanted to make a donation, and they said, no, 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 and at a certain point, you stop fighting, and they handed the crew a $100 check and turned it over to the fiscal office for deposit.
Nice.
That's sweet.
I move to graciously accept a donation in the amount of $100 from Edward and Peggy Panin, sorry if I said that wrong, for the fire department. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? None, roll?
Ms. McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette?
Yes.
Thank you
Anything
very
else, Chief?
much. Nope, that's it for me. Thank you.
Chief McMillan.
Good evening, Board. I have a couple of items on the agenda tonight. The first item on the agenda, we talked about very briefly last month. As mentioned earlier tonight, the police union contracts, both officer and supervisor contracts, will be up at the end of the year. Because we have a levy still pending on the ballot, we have not went into any type of negotiations. The union approached our attorney, Dave Riepenhoff, a month and a half ago, and asked if we would enter into they're calling it a conciliation agreement. Essentially what that agreement would be, because we're negotiating so late into the year, that when we do come to an agreement, likely after the first of the year, we agree to retro any financials back to January 1st. The way that our contract reads, and I believe it's also through standard negotiation, that any financials agreed to after the first of the year do not legally have to go into place until the following fiscal year, which would be 2027. Dave said it's very standard that anytime you go in this late in the year that both agreements go into it. So I would respectfully request this evening that the board agree to that conciliation request from the union for when we start contract negotiations.
I move to approve a conciliation agreement with the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association Supervisors and Patrol Officers Union Agreements as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
McMurray?
Yes.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Antoinette?
Yes, motion passed.
Ooh, that's very quick and efficient.
Would the board be agreeable to allow Administrator Wise to sign off on that agreement to get it back to the attorney?
Yes.
Sure.
I have a second item on the agenda. It's kind of a two-parter, but the Deputy Chief, James Demnon, would like to apply for a Homeland Security grant. As we've adjusted our policy, I believe it was earlier this year, we need to make that request to the board before he can do any type of filings with it. The Homeland Security grant actually allows you to file a couple of requests in order of what you would like to request them in. And so he would like to move forward with 2 separate requests. Would the board like me to go over both of those prior to asking for it? And then just that way you can have all the information. So in order of his preference would be a speed trailer. It's actually would be considered a surveillance trailer that allows you to also record speeds. It comes with the banner style signs to where you can mark any type of information that you need to mark across. If your road's closed, if you're having a special event and directing traffic, it has the capabilities to register speed, as I already mentioned. It has a 30-foot telescoping camera pole that you can put a camera on it along with red and blue lights. I've actually seen them start popping up around Central Ohio in construction zones. You'll notice a big trailer with the lights on it and there's a camera. Ours would have billboard signage, capabilities of monitoring speed. The particular reason that we would want it is for our larger events, such as, I think I took notes, the rivalry football games that we're starting to get annually now through Westerville. We're having different issues throughout the parking lot. It's another, as I say, eye in the sky area for us to be able to monitor what's going on. Our National Night Out, our Fall Fest, the various political events, public demonstrations, all would be great times and places to be able to have that camera, and also allow us to have some various signage to change on the fly if we needed to. I was informed that this particular camera unit does not come with the camera installed. It has everything on it with the exception of that camera. And the reason behind it is once the individual, such as the township, would take possession of it, if we were granted, it would allow us to spend a couple $100 up to maybe $1,000 to get a camera that works for us. Some people are putting on flock cameras, and I don't know if that's right for this township to enter into another agreement with Flock and deal with that annual licensing subscription or get a camera that talks to our current system to allow us live feeds, and that's why they don't put the camera on it. But everything I mentioned does come with it. I think the current price that we had on there was around $34,600, and we are requesting that fully funded from that Homeland Security grant. There is a chance that they would come back with a partial funding. If that would happen, we would come back to the board before we make any final exceptions. And then the second thing in order of number 2 would be the request for a larger drone for aerial surveillance. We brought up the drone a couple of times throughout the year, have even put some money in the capital fund to make that potential purchase. But since it falls under the Homeland Security grant and allows us to request that, we would make that request through the grant in order to be able to keep our levy funds for other types of purchases. So he's made that second request would be just under $30,000 for $29,000. So he is requesting the board permission to a resolution for permission to move forward and make that application.
I move to approve a grant application with the Department of Homeland Security for the purchase of the following: speed surveillance trailer with the camera, estimated value $34,648, and drone, estimated value $29,052. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yep. What's the purpose of the drone? What we use it for?
So we've the drone would be used for any type of aerial searches outside. One of the big things that people are using them for right now are missing persons. I think it was earlier this year we had mentioned where Sunbury was actually close enough with their drone when we had 2 individuals capsize a small boat in Hoover. The drone was up in the air and located one of the survivors relatively quickly, and I believe it was our fire rescue team that was able to get to him. So those are different things that we use them for. The one that we've looked at a couple of different times has a thermal imaging camera, so we've talked about being able to use that with fire for heat signatures if they had to help locate those. Anytime a missing person or an area search, it's safer to send a drone up in order to look around than to send our team into a field or into a wooded area. And then again, just like with what we call the speed or surveillance trailer we just talked about, the drone. Put a drone up in the air above any of our big events, and it allows us to see the whole area rather than trying to look at it individually. So that would be that larger drone. That's more for outside capabilities, and that's more of an area search, people search as your primary reasons.
So you would share this with the fire department? The drone?
The capabilities would be shared with the fire department, and even if maintenance, if it would be something that we could help use for them to be there. To be shared, it's on Homeland Security, so it'd be stored with the PD, but it would be absolutely used for fire and vice versa. We talked early on when we started talking about this, probably even before this year, and it may have been something that we talked about with more fire and police individually, but if it's a police-related scene and we trained fire to use it, then the firefighters could fly it, so the police personnel could be doing what they need to do. And if it was a fire scene, police personnel could fly it, so firefighters could do what they need to do. That was a very initial conversations when we started talking about these drones probably a year and a half ago. So absolutely, anybody in the township that we could use it for, we'd use it for.
So I had the privilege of being on police committee, and we got the presentation from, I think it was the city of Westerville, brought their drone, and I had the ability to observe its performance. Specifically, we did an evening shot and sent a nice volunteer into the woods, and it is incredible its ability to track a person in the woods. So I support this. I think every department could benefit from this use, and the residents. So
You hear about a lot, even locally. Again, we talked about the one specific Sunbury one where they located it. Westerville has multiple scenarios where they found missing elderly adults, endangered juveniles, and the capabilities of having them up within a matter of 5 to 15 minutes versus a helicopter that may or may not be able to get here with those thermal imaging cameras, and the ability that these cameras have on these drones. Trustee, you use it for surveying hundreds and hundreds of acres, so the capabilities of all these cameras and the ability to get them up so quickly is there. And there's a lot of legal parameters around what you can and can't do it for, so I know people have big concerns for privacy, as we all should, and to be able to record or monitor over areas that you're not supposed to be flying, just individual homes and things like that, a lot of legal ramifications to that, what you can and can't keep, what you can and can't survey on. So for us, and specifically in the area, you're using it for very directional, if you need it over a crime scene, or again, to be able to utilize for those search and recoveries. And then lastly, we do have some crime scene or traffic crash reconstructionists, which is the highest level you can have usually when you're dealing with fatalities. Those can take 6-8 hours to be able to reconstruct one of those crime scenes. These drones are knocking it down to a matter of a couple of hours. So even if you're not going all the way into a fatality, major crashes, you can get those drones up to get those measurements, that crash scene taken care of in a matter of a couple of hours, get the road open back up and get everybody moving on. Do it safely and efficiently. So just an added bonus.
all right, any further discussion? Roll.
Ms. McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette?
Yes, motion passed.
That's it for me tonight, Board.
Thanks, Chief.
Before we move on, I forgot to address, I had a conversation with Donna, and it deals with your levy. There's some talk with residents that there's a large carryover with your department, and why are you asking for so much money? And if you can't answer it, I know Donna can, so I don't mean to put you on the spot, but we had this conversation today.
I'm happy to go first if I can make an attempt, and then once I do a moderate job, finance will jump in and clean me up. So I actually have I have the newsletter. I think we're probably referring to in front of me, just so I can talk about it rather correctly. It has we have a balance of a $7 million carryover. That's what the newsletter stated, with a year-to-date expenditures of a little under $3.4 million. The way that I've been explaining it to people who have asked me is that this mid-year snapshot, while accurate when it comes to numbers, doesn't really give a full depiction of our accounts and our balances. That $7 million does have the second drop or draw from our tax revenue from the county. We get paid twice a year, just like people pay their taxes twice a year. So that has already our second drop for this year, which would cover until April-ish of next year for our accounts. The spending was cut off sometime, I believe, is accurate, up until either late July, early August. That's only about a little over a half a year spending. So the numbers look a little bit skewed with the expenditures versus that. We estimate to have a carryover of right about $5 million at the end of the year. Our budget for next year, while, just like everybody talked about tonight, we haven't finalized it because we're waiting for the levy, we're waiting for everything, is probably going to be about a $6 million budget next year. So we do have a little more than what would be recommended by most people, that rough 6-month carryover. So we should be somewhere right around that 3 million mark, and we're expecting to be around 5. So we knew we were going to have a little more carryover than what is, quote, that recommendation when you talk to people who normally do finance and budgeting. And we knew that a couple of years ago into our levy cycle. We talked about it at different times. With the pandemic, our trouble with recruitment early on in the levy, we were carrying over and not spending as much as we were initially budgeting, so our numbers do look a little bit higher. But towards the last year or two of the levy, we decided, we made that comprehensive plan that we knew we were going to have it. Let's factor it in when we make our next levy cycle budget. So that has all been incorporated into the next levy cycle with how we came up with it. We've been collecting right about $4.3 million a year for this particular levy cycle, and as I had just mentioned, next year we're projected to budget about $6 million. This year we budgeted just under 5.8. So we were budgeted to spend about 1.3 mil more than we've actually been collecting, but because we've had the carryover, it's carried us through our entire 5-year levy cycle. So when people see the jump from why we're asking from 4.3 to that 5.6, and they want to know why such a big jump in that request, we've been budgeting and spending over that 4.3 for several years, but we've had the carryover, so we haven't had any issues with it. So I guess to circle back around to the initial question, why so much carryover? While the account currently shows 7 million, that won't be what's in fact at the end of the year. The end of the year, we figure right about 5 million, give or take. And that again is slightly over your 6-month request, but it's not a multi-year carryover. When people see the 3.3 or 3.4 expenditure with the 7 mil sitting in the bank, they see it as, well, you've already got a couple of years in the bank. Why do you need to ask for the levy now? We'll have less than 1 year revenue at the end of the year. So, and that'll get taken in pretty quickly with our budget. So we're projecting to bring in, if the levy passes, projecting to bring in about 5.6 million per year for the 5-year cycle. Year one, we'll already be budgeting at 6 million. So we're already still budgeting higher than what we're bringing in. And now you don't spend 100% of it, so the first couple of years, it'll even out, and then those last couple of years of the levy cycle will take into that last little bit of carryover. If that answers your question, or if you have something to add to maybe clean that up.
No, you did a very good job. I just want to reiterate that the totals that were presented to the residents in that newsletter, that was not the estimated carryover into 2026. It was the fund balance at the end of August of 2025. We do hit a back end of a lot of expenses will be coming due come fourth quarter. We have our third payroll coming due. We have, each of the unions both have holiday payouts, service credit payouts. We still have yet to pay our insurance premiums for 2025, as well as our BWC. That is with not including our general operating, and then obviously our salaries and benefits.
And no department will get another distribution until February,
That
March.
is correct. That is correct.
So whatever everybody has in the bank has to last until then, till we get our next distribution.
Yeah.
Just- you
We
get-
receive rollback in September, so and it always comes in September. But yes, we are done for the year. No more revenue. The only revenue that would come in would be very minor for any fees that Chief would be collecting with regards to, and vendor permits are slowing down, and he'll get fines from the Delaware County courts, which is very, very minor.
Thank you. Thank you both for
Yes.
addressing that.
Really helpful. Maintenance.
Good evening, Board. Following up to your approval in the previous trustee meeting for the technician 2 job descriptions, this evening I'd like to request approval for promotion of Chet Daniels to position of Parks, Buildings, and Grounds Technician 2, following the handbook's percentage take him to $30.42 an hour effective October 14th of 2025.
I move to approve the promotion of Chet Daniels to the position Parks, Buildings, and Grounds Technician 2, and approve a pay increase of 3% to $30.42 effective October 14th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? None, roll?
Ms. McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette?
Yes. Motion passed.
I also would like to request the approval of Seth Sager to the position of Maintenance Technician 2 with the same amount of increase, which would take him to $29.30 an hour effective October 14th of 2025.
I move to approve the promotion of Seth Sager to the position Maintenance Technician 2 and approve a pay increase of 3% to $29.30 an hour effective October 14th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Ms. McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette?
Yes, motion passed.
Next, I've got a request for a new hire, if that's what you want to call Luke. Luke is on his 6th season as a seasonal employee with the maintenance department, which is more than half of my crew has that are full-time. I worked with Luke, and we got Luke his Class B CDL within the last month, and Luke actually has scored the highest score on a CDL test for Genoa Township that I've trained so far, and I think I'm up to like 8 folks now, so kudos to Luke. But with that being said, I'd like to request the hire of Luke Weithman as Parks, Buildings, and Grounds Technician 1. What do you know his hourly? 22. 21.
Just a side note,
Yes.
Luke will become our very first Parks, Buildings and Grounds, Roads Tech with a college degree.
Oh.
He'll get that next year after his 1-year anniversary.
I don't know how it works.
You're letting us know?
Letting us know.
Yeah, if the job posting's up, I can tell you. But just a little bit about Luke while she's looking. Luke went to school to be a school teacher and graduated last spring and came to me and said, help, I need to tell my parents I don't want to be a teacher anymore. I want to work for you. So that's kind of how things came along. Luke's a good guy, but he'll be a great addition.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sorry, Don, I missed it. It wasn't in there.
Do you want to talk about your grant?
Sure. Our grant awards that we have applied for, so I spoke to you guys about the Ohio Department of Transportation Township Safety Sign Grant that Mr. Barnett and I worked together and applied for. We have received that grant. That is for $54,000 in signs, so that'll be stop signs, 25-mile-per-hour signs, and sign. That's a huge thing for us. And then before we put the grant, I guess, how we do and how we report the grants to you guys in the handbook, we'd already put in for the yearly Step Outside grant, which we typically use for our fishing day. Brooke takes care of that for me each year, and she applied for that a few months ago, and we also received that $500 grant for the Step Outside grant. So those are just some updates on the 2 grants that we have applied for.
That's great.
Because he has a B,
He's
would be
at-
the 2378.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. The hourly rate would be $23.78.
I move to hire Luke Weithman to the position of Parks, Buildings, and Grounds Technician 1, effective October 14th, 2025, at the rate of $23.78 per hour with a 6-month probationary period. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll?
Ms. McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Antoinette?
Yes.
And that's all for me. Thank you,
That's good.
Board.
Thank you.
Thanks. Zoning.
Good evening, everyone. The only item I have on your agenda this evening is just a continued hearing for the omnibus zoning resolution amendment. I know trustee McMurray spoke briefly to it during trustee comments. However, we probably need to go through all the procedural, opening the hearing, swearing everyone in, all of that. And then trustee McMurray, I'm sorry, but you'll probably have to repeat what you said as part of the hearing.
I was just excited to give an update.
I'm excited that you're excited. But yeah, so ought to be, sounds like it might be relatively quick, so I'll.
Okay, I call the continued hearing for ZC 2024-05 to order at 8:05 PM. Noted that the legal notice and exhibits were read at the previous meetings and asked everyone who wished to speak to this matter to stand and be sworn in. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. I guess public comment? Anyone?
Do you care if we dismiss staff?
I don't care.
They don't need to be here, correct?
Nobody needs to be here.
Except
I mean,
for
it's
Joe?
exciting, but
I mean,
we're just
I
gonna
sat through a
continue.
lot of exciting stuff before we got to my part.
That's right.
sorry. You know, I'm just saying.
That's such like a big brother thing.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right. So let's get a discussion from trustee McMurray, and we can cut to the chase.
All right, I'll give my quick update again. So I'm still progressively reviewing and making notes about edits and way we can condense and streamline the copy. Joe has completed his review and his notes. Next step for us will be to meet collectively to review our notes and recommendations. To date, don't have any additional comments from the public. I will host a roundtable now for sure on 11/10 from 5 to 6:30 PM here in the town hall in the small conference room. So that's it for my updates on where I am.
Okay, so having said that,
Yes.
we need to set a date to continue. Do you have an idea of when you think you can be able to present?
Be able to present all of our edits and recommendations.
Yes.
And
And
maybe
we're not
after
going to
Thanks-
hold you to it, but we
Can we
need
say
to,
after
you
Thanksgiving?
can say whatever you want. You're taking the lead on it.
You will be meeting before that roundtable, so I don't know, maybe that's a,
Oh,
if you continue
true.
to the year, because the next regular meeting's on the 6th, right, Paul?
Yeah, it's on the 6th, but there's no point because you're not going to have anything to report, correct?
No, but we do have to go to a date, time, and place certain, so what I'm
Yeah.
saying is.
Oh, it's just do
by
that and
November
then the next
6th,
one.
she may have a
To
better
the next
idea of,
trustee meeting.
Yes.
she may have a better idea of when we'll be ready to
Okay.
present at
Yes.
that point.
All right, so I move to continue the public hearing for the subject zoning text amendment dated June 9th, 2025, also known as ZC case 2024-05, until the
November
next
6th.
regular trustee meeting in November,
November 6th.
November 6th. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay, so I move to adjourn the ZC hearing 2024-05. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A few announcements. October 15th will be the Zoning Commission, October 20th, Parks Advisory Committee, October 25th, the Fall Festival at Freeman Farm, October 28th, Board of Zoning Appeals, October 31st, Halloween Trick or Treat Day, November 4th, Tuesday, the general election, November 5th, Fire Advisory Committee, the next regular trustee meeting is November 6th, 2025. Being no more business before the Board of Trustees, I'll have a motion to adjourn at 8:08.
Second.
Discussion? None? Roll?
Ms. McMurray?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn? Yes. Mr. Antonetts?
Meeting adjourned.